Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls. My name is I'm the CEO of Classroom Without Walls and the host of this weekly live streaming show. You can also listen to us on the traditional audio-only podcast. Just search Classroom Without Walls. On this show, I interview leading social media, digital marketers, entrepreneurs, business leaders to come here to share with us their best practices so that we can future-proof our business. And today, I'm really excited to have my friend and Cadi Jordan on the show to talk about connection-based marketing. And Cadi and I actually connected through Julia McCoy, and we co-wrote this book, Skip the Degree, Save the Tuition. And Cadi is a featured expert in the book, and she has an incredible story. And Cadi is also a connectorpreneur. Sorry, just dropped the book. She's also a connectorpreneur, which we're going to learn more about in today's interview. She's a marketing and social media strategist and has been in the space for more than a decade. And Cadi has helped her friends and clients achieve milestones in their businesses. For example, help their brands to become global and helped some of her clients got featured on NASDAQ and Forbes, which are big deals. So really exciting. And today we're talking about connection-based marketing. What is it about and how you can apply connection-based marketing to your own business to generate more ROI, to grow your business to a new level. So I'm myself, this is my first time listening and discovering this term. So I'm looking forward to learn more about this from Cadi. And as always, a big shout out to StreamYard. Over the last 4 years, I have tried almost all the third-party tools to go live, and StreamYard is my favorite. In the comment section, there's a link that allows you to check out StreamYard for free for 2 weeks. So check it out and shoot me a message if you have any question. We are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Periscope, and on Twitch. If you are live with us right now, let me know in the comment section where you are joining us live from, social media-wise and geographically speaking. Without any further ado, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, really excited. I see some of your friends are here. And so really excited. So let's get started. As I mentioned earlier, you have been in this space for a much longer time than me, for more than a decade. So what are some major changes that you have observed over the last several years in terms of social media, digital marketing that you can share with us?
Some major changes that I've seen, I've been around long enough to see how noisy the space can get. And so I think that is just, that is something that really is something that I see a very stark contrast from when I started in the space to now. And another reason why we have to leverage and utilize different ways of connecting so that we can get our message across, make connections, and be able to take those relationships in different directions for our work and business.
Yeah. Do you see like a heavier emphasis on like connections and relationship compared to like a few years ago?
I think there's a core group of people that I can identify that have always done business this way, leveraging the social space as far as connection-based and the power of H to H, like Brian Kramer would say. He coined that term a long time ago, but I think there is a handful of us out of the gate that have always just been about building relationships, building those relationships online to take them offline. And that's the power of using any tool in the social media space.
Totally. That's why I really love, and I'm a huge fan of Brian Kramer, who also came to the show. If you're interested in checking out the episode, let me know. I will share the link. And I love this H to H concept. So what inspired you to become interested in connection-based? Oh, sorry, did I say parenting? Sorry, I need to fix that. connection-based I didn't even notice that.
I talk about parenting. I mean, like, I'm a parent.
I can also relate to, right? So I host 2 shows. This one focuses on business. The other one focuses on marketing. So sorry about that. I need to change the title. So yeah, so what inspired you to become interested in connection-based marketing? And so share that story with us.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm the child that you had a hard time teaching stranger danger to. So I was always very social and open. And so I think like the leveraging the power of social media and marketing and business just came naturally to make those connections and take those connections offline, whether it used to be more in person than it is right now in this season, of course. But taking that conversation offline into even video calls now and more one-on-one conversations. So that always was a key driver for me. And then in the past, in the businesses that I've worked within, I've always had my hand in the marketing piece, even though I was, more in management positions in the jobs that I had. But the pieces that I was attached to, as far as marketing went, it was always about making the connections with the right people and, just being able to get the message across in a really clear way and fast way, because it doesn't have to take a long time to build that.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely want to dive deeper into this. And Lynn is just being so sweet. Thank you so much for joining us live. And shout out to Brian Kramer. Definitely H2H is such a powerful concept. Yeah. And you also call yourself a connectorpreneur, which is also the first time that I discovered the term, but I love it. So is there any connection between connection-based marketing and the connectorpreneur? Maybe you could even explain to us, what do you mean when you call yourself a connectorpreneur?
Yeah, sure. Relationships are just always where it's at. And so I've just had so many people over the years say, thanks for connecting me, Cadi. I got to do this. Thanks for connecting me, Cadi. I have enough services, support for my business now. Thank you, Cadi, for connecting us. We started another arm of the business together. There's just so many things that have brought me joy in connecting people to other businesses or other services, other people. I don't even really know. I just started using that term and people responded. So I think I changed my LinkedIn bio and started changing some stuff up late fall 2019, started using that term, and it's just kind of stuck.
Yeah, I really love the term. Like, accurately describes what you do. It feels like it is such a core concept, like, of connection-based marketing. Anyone who practices this must be a connectorpreneur. So I have a kind of follow-up question on this, right? Like, how do you manage that human to human touch when you are, I think when you have 100 followers, it is much easier to have that human touch, connecting with each other. But when you add a few zeros, like 100,000 or 10,000 or even 50,000 followers across different channels. So how do you make connection-based marketing work? And how do you even keep track of all those connections?
True. Well, some people are more active than others, so those connections are going to be built stronger than others, right? So that's how I see that. What I've also seen over time and over the years, even to go back to your very first question about, what are changes that I've seen in the space, and changes that I've seen are people that are established and have been in this space for a long time, is taking those, taking the conversations off of their LinkedIn walls or Facebook walls or Twitter. And yes, we're going into the direct messages more. We're making introductions, maybe on Twitter, still openly in the tweet stream, because I love doing that. But, on LinkedIn, it may be more of a behind the scenes kind of thing. So I think that just really keeping those connections, the people that we're connecting with the most, even in our feeds, we know are what aggregates the algorithm too. And we see more of who we're connecting with, and through the posts that we're liking and conversations that we're having. So being mindful and being purposeful to make those connections, and even to check in on some of those connections that you haven't seen more active in a while, because I know that's something that I do take note of when I've seen people kind of drop off the Twitter sphere or wherever they've gone to, and just see how active they are. Because we're also in a season of really needing to check in on each other that much more too.
Totally. I love this. Do you actually keep like a Google Doc, or do you use any CRM or any like spreadsheet to keep track of all the people, like, or you just like kind of remember, have a great memory?
I do have a really great memory.
Wow.
Sometimes it's a downfall of life, but it is I have a really strong memory. I remember facts back to a very, very young age too. And I think as far as remembering people and making that connection, I'm a very divergent thinker. And so that's why you're top of mind in this space to me now for various reasons. And I can think of a whole system of people that share the same values that I could think of you speaking in front of, for example. But like, that's top of mind because of the conversations that we've been having and even leading up to joining each other today.
That's amazing. I guess who is here? We just give you a shout out, my friend. I see. Yeah, so great to see you, Brian. Where is the shout out? Like, we literally just give you a shout out. Yeah. Here. So that we're not lying to you. So thank you for stopping by. Yeah, definitely. And I love it. Like, sometimes, besides checking in with friends, I really want to get someone's attention, right? I want to invite them to be on my podcast, or I want to collaborate with them. And I know they have lots of followers, and I discovered the best way to get their attention is not to bombard them with constant DM private messages, but actually to write genuine comments regarding their LinkedIn posts, YouTube videos, or tweets. I typically drop like paragraphs to really, and then when you do that, and can really get people's attention. So I love that. Great idea. Yeah. And
something else along those lines that works really well, I found, and I've done this for clients too at times over the years, is doing a really quick video, like even a minute, that's very specific to them. So if there is something that you want to connect on, that will grab their attention more so than a note in your direct messages.
Totally. So what do you use? I use Drift. I love using Drift to do the video. I know like on many platforms that you can do the video natively, but I love using Drift because once you do the video, they will actually automatically generate a GIF or GIF for you. So you can see you're like waving, watch this like 10 seconds or watch this 1 minute video. It was really powerful. I actually did that at the beginning of this year to wish a bunch of people I connected with a happy new year. And I got great. It takes lots of time for sure, because it's like I actually mentioned their name, but the feedback has been really incredible. So check it out, Drift. I really love it.
I have not used that at all. I've just used the video natively, or Loom is another tool that I like to send quick video messages into.
Yeah.
Yours sounds fun.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I will see if I can find an example. And so it's called Drift. And you just see like a little GIF of you like, hi. And then once people click on that GIF, it's actually will lead to a video. And you can have actually a conversation between you and whoever is viewing the video. It's actually a pretty, really fun tool. I really like it. Yeah. So going back to connection-based marketing, which you have been talking about, and also the focus of today's conversation, what do you think are some essential elements? And you were talking about lead to listen framework. So is that a part of the connection-based marketing? And if it is, maybe you can explain it to us what it means.
Well, actually, that's interesting that you bring that up because it's very new for me. The phrase kind of came to me just over a year ago as I thought back across my career in the space, so to speak. And the lead to listen framework is something that I've kind of been using with clients, but without formally calling it anything. And then that's how it's kind of begun to be shaped in this season, because I've actually been in a rebrand for a little while. I have a new website coming soon that'll share some of this even more. But what what I've seen with clients and even in my own life is something that I want to help others with in my work in my business too. And the Led to Listen framework does connect with, as far as connection-based marketing goes, because the Led to Listen framework really goes into where you're at in your life and business, because we know that if something's out of whack in one area, then you're not probably going to be as productive in some of the other areas as well. It's really hard to not be firing on all cylinders, so to speak. So that's where the Led to Listen framework comes in. Because, for example, I have worked with clients who, we've got started, and quite a few months in, they're saying, I'm running out of funds. This was kind of way back, actually. It's an older example. And the client said to me, they started their business with their 401k. And I was like, oh, like if I'd have known that and I'd have leveraged different questions in my intake and discovery with them, then I would have known to direct them to maybe a full-on business coach before embarking on a marketing journey, for example. So those are pieces and examples that I've pulled in along the way of working with others to be able to direct them in a way that works better for them in their business in that season too. So, and I've had clients that they've left, and 2 or 3 years later, I've gotten a call, Cadi, I want to work with you now, I'm ready. And that's okay. That's the integrity of what I do. And I hope others do, and just really guiding people to what's going to work best for them.
Well, I love that. And I love those examples you share with us, like for this person who wanted to work with you 2 years later. So how do you manage to be under their radar for like a good amount of 2 years?
That example, I couldn't even say. It just that it might be that I didn't just start them on a marketing journey. I told them they needed a business coach first. Like, I'm not going to work with you if you don't have some of these foundational pieces in play. Yes, I can help with lots of those pieces along the journey, but if you really need something else and it's not what I'm offering, that's okay.
Yeah. And I love how, which you also talked about, which is truth and offering value, which I think are also both powerful. I mean, I love how, you will just honestly tell the person, right, I can't really help you right now. And when you are being so honest with the person, they will remember you. They will reciprocate, down the road. So I love that. Great example. Yeah. Yeah, I also love how you shared, oftentimes when people come to us, they think they actually need something, but then quickly they will discover that they actually need something else. Like, did that happen to you a lot?
It has happened quite a handful of times over the years. And I think that that's okay, because if you what I've really seen over the years is you really need things to come into right order. You can't make it very far. If one area is out of whack, then you're going to get stalled out. So you're not. It happened to me. It's happened to me in my business. I had some family things come up over the years, and while those things were happening, my business was still running. But it definitely took the dip, as Seth Godin would say, and it was a little scary. But I've been coming through that, and I'm on track for doing really well in business this year. I'm excited about it, and I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah,
hopefully I'm leading by example. I know I'm not the only one out there.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating, actually. I mean, like you mentioned in the book, hold on, I dropped it. You shared in your book that you are this year on track to run 6-figure business, and that is amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's huge, right? Given what is happening right now. And so if you can reflect on your journey, you have been in the space for quite a few years. So what are some best practices that you can share with us that really contributed to your business success? Is it because of you practice connection-based marketing, or some other secrets that you can share with us?
Well, I've always leveraged the power of connection, so to speak. So I think that it's definitely a contributing factor. Just like I believe it takes a village to raise our children, and I was raised by a village too. I think it takes a village to raise our business. And so, Brian Kramer's got a community thriving. We've had some amazing people that I've been connected to for many years that I consider friends. Some I've met in person, some I've not. So that's really been a huge factor in my success. thus far. Also, not being afraid to try stuff and mess up. It's okay to fail and get going and keep going again. And also to ask for help along the way when you need it, because it's okay. I have had business coaches along the way. I currently am in a community that is a group environment, as well as a very small group coaching group that I'm in too, with about 7 women. And, that has been, it's been gold the last few months, even this season of starting, through this crazy season we started last spring. So I definitely attribute it to that. And one other thing would be a mindset shift too, right? Like I think poverty and lack mindsets can come into play for people along the way, no matter what walk of life you're in, and that it's okay to make money. We're going to be able to sow into others better while we're doing that. So.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I have quite a few follow-up questions. And first, here, I think, and we have some really good comments from Lynn here. Yeah, curiosity and asking for help, they are absolutely keys. And like coaching agreement, right, with both parties will do. That's for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love this from Brian referring to what you mentioned already. Yeah, don't ever. That's definitely not a smart idea.
No. And I do know that old client is doing really great now, and that's awesome. But it's still like, and that they'll have their own story to tell too through business down the line.
Definitely. I also love how you mentioned that you are part of a coaching program. I think this is something that people, when they're starting out, they don't really want to invest in that money. They feel like I can watch a YouTube video here, like a podcast here and there. It's like scattered information. And I feel really thankful, the same as you, Cadi, like that I resigned from my teaching position only in 2019. And the first, like I resigned in summer, August. So from August to December, my business was a disaster. So I decided, there's something I have to do about it. So I invested in a coach, which made such a huge difference in my business. And like sometimes when you are investing money, it is actually a shortcut to your like life and career success. Oh, I'm so thankful because of that investment. My business has actually grown a lot. Otherwise, I will still be trying to watch and all the free content here and there, trying to figure this out. So I think that is a powerful piece of advice that you share with us. So thank you. I so agree with you. Makes a huge difference. Yeah. And I think that supportive network. Yeah,
for sure.
I also love how you talk about this mindset shift. And I think you mentioned in the book that you are a giver, right? Like, so maybe you can share how you shifted your mindset with us, because many people struggle to charge people, right? Especially in this like global pandemic. And at least when I first started the business, there was no pandemic. And I still don't feel comfortable charging people money. So what really helped you to have that mental shift, right? Like I'm doing a good job and I deserve to be paid. Maybe you could share some tips with us. I know that is a struggle facing men, especially women. I don't know how many guys struggle with this. Maybe Brian can let us know. But definitely as a female entrepreneur, I definitely struggle with this. And you and I would both come from that education background, which I think makes everything even worse, because I'm just used to doing things for free. So if you can maybe share a few tips with us.
Yeah. And, I think this journey is different for everyone. But definitely charging what you're worth and the value you're providing for whatever type of service or product that it is that you have, you're going to know what's right in that time for what it is. So I do think it's very individual, but as far as a mindset shift goes, part of it came with demand for services too. As demand for services has grown, I've increased packages and rates. There's specific people I may have worked with for some time that are in a kind of a different bracket for that. But yeah, it's definitely just been about doing the work and knowing that that's okay. And I think some of it comes, it goes back to our family of origins, how we grew up, and just really exploring and digging deep into that. Because even as you guys have said in the book, and skip the degree, save the tuition, there's so much gold right there, right? Like I can't even count how many people I know who have gotten a degree, and then they have, gone into a different line of work entirely. So I think that, yeah, it really is an individual journey and experience, but it definitely comes down to mindset and doing the work.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think reflecting on my own journey. I interview so many people on my show, and actually quite a few people have shared that what they are doing right now have nothing to do with their undergraduate college degree. And even myself, I guess I was teaching PR, but I definitely don't understand anything related to like starting a business. It is, as you mentioned, doing this, taking action is what has been giving me clarity on my own strengths, on my own weakness, on my business development. So yeah, I agree with you, taking action, learning as doing, and makes a huge difference. Yeah. Yeah. And also you kind of mentioned, like checking in with people, like going back to connection-based marketing. And right now with this like global pandemic, so how are you practicing connection-based marketing differently in this, if at all, in this like given what's happening right now versus like a few years ago? Is that a bad question? or she looks like she froze? Can you guys still hear me? Yeah, can you all still hear me? Let me know in the comment section. I hope you can. Oh, I love this, Lynn. Let me know if you can still hear me. And maybe Alexander, you can let me know. Can you still hear me? Okay, still hear me. Okay, good. Yes, I love this. And we're just going to wait for her to come back. And reflection is the key. Definitely. And now I used to make, yeah, I hope she is going to be back. So yeah. So I used to, talking about, reflection, I used to have at the beginning of every year, I have my New Year resolution, the goals that I want to accomplish. But now I'm doing that, I think, much better. So every 3 months or every 4 months, I will actually do a reflection. I have my year-long goals. I have my quarterly goals. I have all the sticky notes everywhere. It has definitely made a huge difference. Knowing where I want to go and constantly making that reflection has really helped me and becoming more reflective and becoming more intentional with how I want to show up in my business. And how I want to show up. Oh, hold on. Yes, she froze. I hope she is. Hold on. Let me see. Did she send me a private note?
I don't know what happened.
We destroy the internet.
Oh my goodness, the joy. So we were just talking about, do we do anything different in this season?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I was just like sharing some really powerful comments from the live audience. Yeah. So what are you doing like right now? Talking about maximizing connections, building connections. So yeah, how are you practicing connection-based marketing differently in this kind of global pandemic?
Yeah, so I think what I was saying is that I'm just trying to be more mindful about who I'm connecting with online and what that time looks like. For example, thanks, Lynn. For for that, I'm being really mindful and just seeing who I'm connecting with, especially on LinkedIn. I'm spending more time probably on Twitter and LinkedIn myself these days, in the past year or so, actually, only, and not spreading myself too thin. But with that, just seeing like, where do I have the time? Where are the windows of opportunity to grab someone's calendar and even take a 15-minute spot with them, no matter where they are in the world, to get to know them better. Because before, at least locally, we would take those conversations offline and be able to, spend time to grab a coffee or something like that. And we don't get that. So we kind of need to augment that virtually for now, I think, in this season. And I do look forward to getting back to travel again and seeing people in real life. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the same way. But I also have to say, like, on the other hand, like this week I did, I'm actually, I have 3 speaking gigs. I did 2, I have 1 left. I'm just thinking about why in the old days I had to, pack my luggage, and I had to say bye to my kids. I can't do any work with my client, and I had to travel. But now I feel, oh wow, this is pretty good. But I definitely miss, the human touch and like just drinking coffee, hanging out. And it is such a great feeling. Yeah. And kind of follow up on this, as I introduced you earlier, you actually helped quite a few of your clients achieve some incredible results. Like, for example, help them bring their brands to a global level, and got some people featured on NASDAQ and Forbes. Amazing. So
that is all through power of connection. That is power of teamwork. That's what that is. That is not me all by myself. That's for sure. It's truly the power of human connection and building those connections, not just for the purposes of marketing, but internal communications with teams and employee advocacy for each other's brands, and having everybody pitch in and work together. So those are all key pieces when it comes to any kind of prominence like that and getting featured.
That's amazing. I hope you don't mind. Like, I'd love to learn more about like how the power of human connections manifested in this like powerful like media feature. Do you mind giving us like more details? It's like a connection that you made through LinkedIn or Twitter, social media. You kind of nurture that connection and like to the media coverage.
Some of those connections are definitely made through the media and nurturing connections in that way over time. Really, also that comes down to the power of story. But in our power of story, that is where we can bring in the power of connection too. We know that we want to have are more receptive to the conversational tone of us even just having this conversation right now. We're just sitting down having tea and a conversation, right? It's really what it boils down to. And I think there's still a lot of old school work out there, and we see that. We see a lot of pay to play. And I definitely have clients who have paid money to be in magazines, for example, depending on the feature. And it's not that I still don't believe in doing those types of placements and media placements that are paid, but there's also opportunity out there to be had, definitely just through leveraging the power of connection, your brand connection. Does your brand work for a story? Those are all things that can get picked up without even paying to play, for sure. Just earned media that came about because you've been doing the work.
Yeah, I love it. That's also kind of like, I haven't done any like I pay, to like paid media mention, but I love just like nurturing a relationship. I actually do the work. I was actually just listening to someone sharing that when you are doing the work, the quality of your content is so good. The content is actually doing 70% of the marketing for you, authority building for you, and attracting all those media to come to you. And I think that is a much more powerful way. And following up on that conversation, and now the entire social media space is a lot noisier than a few years ago. I feel like every day there is like more people online on a daily basis. So are you an advocate of doing like cold messaging, like cold calling people on the phone, or like messaging people like Twitter or LinkedIn to try to, identify your target audience and sell your product and service? What is your take on that?
Personally, I don't love it. There is value in connecting and having a conversation, but what you're describing to me is, what day are we on? Wednesday today. Already this week, I have connected and linked and unlinked with probably 7 to 10 people that have had a really great message and purpose for connecting. But then as soon as that exception has come, then that's what, they're pitching me right away in the inbox. And that is pretty much immediate grounds for me to not be connected anymore. So I don't love that. I think that there's just a way you can just say hello. A lot of teams I work with practice the same way. It's what I've done to grow my business, just by saying hello. Someone connects with me on Twitter, I might ask them what the highlight of their week is so far. I'm just trying to bridge a gap and build that connection by asking some open-ended questions and getting to know them a little bit better. And in turn, if they're wanting to connect further business-wise, then they'll be receptive and open to that human connection too.
Yeah, that's a very interesting approach. I love it. I definitely, I got bombarded with messages all the time. So when you are sorry, my cat.
That's okay. I feel like I should have my cat, and I just heard my dog bark in the background. So
I heard it too. Yeah. So when you are connecting with people on LinkedIn, or like for example, I say that, hey, how is your day? What's the highlight of your day? And do you ever even mention your business at all, or you just don't even mention it?
Oh, I don't really mention it, come to think of it.
Wow.
I don't really, unless I'm asked directly about what I do. I think that's really how I start out the conversation. And a lot of the clients I work with and the teams I work with, very much the same way. It comes down to values too, right? Like I've never been a huge marketer that believes in, let's do this demographic profiling, like right out of the gate a little bit, but more always trying to pull in what values do people have. And then there's someone local to me here in Vancouver, David Allison. His work is the Value Graphics database, and his work is all about values and building that bridge in your business and organization by using the power of connection in that way. Because I, here in Vancouver, BC area, can value the same thing in my 40s as a 20-year-old over in Dubai, for example. Like it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. It doesn't necessarily boil down to a demographic profiling. So it really comes down to values, and that's a piece that does fan the flame of human connection.
Yeah, I mean, like Brian is like resonating. I bet he's like dancing on the floor, right? Speaking your language, my friend. The human connection is definitely for the win. And I love how this coming from Lan saying that, before I do even small things, I pause before implementing.
Love that.
Like when you were gone, we're just talking about reflection and pausing. So I so great, right? Like reflecting on this, sometimes taking a break is such a great way to help you actually travel faster and go further in life.
It sure is. Yeah. That's something like that we all have seasons in our business where we're striving, I think. And that's something we have to I've had to learn it and unlearn it quite a handful of times over the years. Just that we don't need to be striving, that we can work from a place of rest.
Yeah, definitely. And here's a great question from Mike. Thank you for joining us live. He asks, how do you filter the noise? It is tough to get the right connection for the need. Oh, which I can definitely connect. And you mentioned you are on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I think you are also on Clubhouse. So I'm the same. I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Clubhouse, like YouTube and Facebook, all those channels. And if you add them, like if you get 5 spammy messages on one channel, you multiply 5, and then that is like tons of messages. So yeah, what's your answer to that question?
Yeah, I think it really boils down. We don't need to be on all the different platforms. I always tell clients that are getting started, reserve your name across all the platforms. You might use something down the line, so you want to save it, but we don't need to have the fear of missing out on this one, so to speak. In that we need to just be on the platforms that work for us the most. I was really worried about Clubhouse myself. Like I did not want to jump on one more platform, and I waited and I waited. And just over the Christmas holidays, I decided to jump in. Sue Zimmerman saw me and got me in the door right away, the back door. And, you know, I haven't looked back, but I'm being very mindful of my time. I hopped on this morning and found a room I wanted to join for a few minutes while I was getting things ready for work and school day, and enjoyed the conversation there for 15, 20 minutes, contributed a little, and it's just a great way to spend part of the day and a great way to connect, leveraging the power of audio in this season, right? I didn't, you know, brush my hair yet, probably. And so
I love it. But I so hear you. I mean, like, I only tried Clubhouse. So last year when, like, I mean, it's still very popular, but last year when there's so much FOMO around like Clubhouse, I give this a try around the holiday season. And this year, and the first time I tried, I easily spent hours on the platform that I was like, oh my God, what did I do to myself, to my life? So now I'm even afraid to even use the platform. I need to have more self-control. Like if I just need to tell myself only 20 minutes, because sometimes the conversation can be so good.
Yeah,
you can get lost. And also, like in terms of my business, because I'm mainly selling to the parents or connecting with the parents, I don't even know how many parents are there looking for. So that's another reason I haven't. I'm mainly 100% on LinkedIn, which is the platform that has been giving me and generating leads and money. So that is my go-to platform. But yeah, I hear you, the FOMO and the can be very time consuming, and without strategy, I think that can be very tough, right? You're just like showing up, but without a strategy, I don't think it's an ideal way for us like solopreneurs to run a business. Yeah. Any so besides is your main social media platform kind of to cultivate a relationship connections mainly on LinkedIn? Is that the one you are focusing on, or like both LinkedIn and Twitter?
Yeah, LinkedIn and Twitter are the two places that you can find me the most. I thought I was going to go back to even using my Facebook page, and maybe I will. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure yet. And I'm okay with that. And that's okay for others too. But yeah, generally speaking, LinkedIn and Twitter. And I really have been enjoying Clubhouse. So I am over there and jump into conversations when I can. I love how creatively people are using it. They're using it for like post-party, post-podcast parties to ask and answer, a few more questions, things like that. So I really am enjoying the platform there. But my two favorite spots for a while now are definitely LinkedIn and Twitter for me. I peek in on Instagram, but I'm not posting there right now, at least. Again, we'll see what happens in the future, but.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is like resonating with you, and what Lynn shared here, like, we have to be very crystal clear. Absolutely. Where our target audience is, and let that dictate our action, as opposed to having FOMO dictate our action as a business owner. Yeah. And I tried the latter, which is just a FOMO. I did all sorts of things when I just started on this journey. Yeah. It didn't get my business anywhere. I was so exhausted every single day. I didn't even know what I did today. I was just so tired constantly. Yeah.
And the key thing there with the FOMO piece is there's a time and a place for it. I love what Mei King Zhang is doing with her whole FOMO. I love that. But this is a little bit different perspective, right? And I love what you said there is that we don't want that to dictate. And that's exactly it. We don't want that to dictate. F is for fear. And we don't want to do anything in life or business based on fear. We want to do that from a place of joy and peace. So.
Totally. And I think this goes back to what you were talking about earlier, reflect, right? So like once in a while, you need to identify, document, track all the leads are coming in. Like, are they mostly coming from Twitter, from which platform, or which messaging is resonating the most with your audience, so that you can be more active on that platform, produce more of that type of message, have that strategy. I think it's so important. Just not just like randomly doing this and that because everybody else is doing this. It's just not a smart approach. Yeah.
You have to do what works for you. Yeah.
Exactly. So talking about social media, and what are some of your favorite tools for social media and marketing and content creation, management, all those things? So share some of your favorite tools with us.
Okay, well, I am definitely about using the tools that work for you in your business, because every different business is at different stages and needs different tools. But full disclosure, I do work with Lately, and that is my favorite go-to that I would talk about, especially right now. And only because so much can be done all within one place, in one platform. You don't need to really use any other tools. And the power of the AI there is what is really key, because it helps, you can put your blog post in and it turns your quality content that you wrote into dozens of social posts in less than 60 seconds. But there's also leveraging the power of podcasting and clipping up your video clips, and also doing video clips and podcast clips. So there's lots of different things that that you can leverage Lately for. There's analytics right in the dashboard. There are upcoming integrations too that are going to be very helpful for people as well, such as HubSpot and Zapier integration. So it's all right on the cusp right there, and it's so much fun.
Well, that's amazing. Maybe I should have you back to teach us, do a demo, tell us more about Lately.
Chris Bro could do a really awesome show with you. His background is in radio. You guys would have so much fun together talking about that.
Yeah, like based on what you share with me, I love everything you mentioned. Sounds like fascinating. I actually used Lately like a few years ago. I don't know what happened. I stopped because I think the problem is there are just so many tools, right? Like you started trying this and like there's another shiny object. I was like, what is that? So I'd love to go back to Lately and learn more about it. It sounds like
that. And you know what? It'll have changed. So I've worked with Lately now for 3 years coming up, and Brian Kramer introduced me to them too. So
wow, talking about connection-based marketing.
Just how it works, right? And so if you were on there and using the platform, then you are going to see so many really wonderful, fun changes since you were last in there. And so we definitely need to get you somebody to show you around again.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So and moving forward, and like any like trends, we kind of discuss some of your observations in social media after being in this space for so many years. And to wrap this up and moving forward, what do you think are kind of the future of social media? Like some like trends that are emerging that you, based on your observation, can share with us?
Trends that are emerging? Yeah, I think that there is definitely a rise in voice tech. And so that is really special. There's some very cool platforms out there. Attention.live is one to watch.
Oh, what is that?
ATTN.live. One of the founders is Ian Utility there. And it's a crazy, amazing platform for voice tech in the voice tech space. So that's definitely one to watch. And obviously just with Clubhouse coming on the scene like it has, and just people going crazy for it, again, like I just, I see that power of voice and being able to drop in. I mean, it's like a radio show over there. It's really great. So I think, there's definitely going to be a rise in the voice tech space and how that's being leveraged because of streaming, right? Streaming through your Echo Dot, your Google Home Minis, and all the things. I just think there's a powerful way to get into people's businesses and homes that way through the airwaves in a different way in this century. So
totally, I think that is a great like emerging trend. I definitely see that myself. Just look at my own family, how much we're relying on voice to search for this, search for that, and our kids, constantly asking Siri all those questions and Google all those things, and definitely. And I think speaking of Clubhouse. Didn't Twitter, I'm no longer that active on Twitter nowadays, but like on Twitter, didn't they launch something like similar, Twitter Space, which is also like kind of like a voice, is that right? A voice feature?
Yes, absolutely. And the people, like I haven't had a chance to jump in there, but I've seen a few colleagues that we probably both know jump into the space there. And I've seen some glitches. I've seen a few giggles along the way so far, but I think we just have to see how it rolls out. And I think, even with Instagram or Facebook, like there's all these platforms, they want to keep us on their platform. They don't want us going from Facebook to Twitter to
no way.
Facebook loves that you're streaming on their platform. They want to help that integration, but they don't love if we drop a YouTube link there. They usually give that, less weight in their algorithm. So, none of them want us to leave.
That's right. Interesting. It reminds me of, a few years ago when Snapchat had their stories, right? How Instagram just stole that idea. They launched their Instagram stories. And then this year or last year, people in Australia, LinkedIn stories and then Twitter's, I call them Twitter stories, but they call it Twitter fleet. Yeah. It is so interesting how, I absolutely agree with you. Once you are on the platform, don't ever go away. Don't ever leave. We'll do all that we can to keep you here.
They do. That's what they want.
Interesting. It will be interesting to see how LinkedIn and maybe even Facebook, how some other social media platforms are eventually going to embrace this voice feature and interesting space. But I agree. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Any parting piece of advice? We're wrapping up here related to connection-based marketing that we haven't had a chance to discuss, but you feel like people need to remember, your parting piece of wisdom.
My parting piece of wisdom, just don't overthink things, I think. Don't overthink the conversations. And I think that's the key thing. When powerful connections can be very small. They can be, right? They can be just one thing that leads to something bigger. So, don't overthink things. Leverage the power of connection. Build your relationships, and that's what's going to take you further.
Yeah, I love it. And you just treat everybody equally, right? You just never know how this one person is going to, open so many doors for you, even though on the outside, on the surface level, this person may not check all the boxes, of what we call them gurus or influencers, but treat everybody the same. So I love that, nurture the relationships. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. What a great conversation. So thank you so much for sharing so many great tips and awesome insights with us. So share with us, where can people learn more about you? Kind of on different social media channels I share.
Yeah, for sure. My new website's going to launch soon, which is just CadiJordan.com. The old one's still live right now, which is, the cobbler in the shoe scenario with us marketer people. But I'm definitely active. You can find me over on LinkedIn, and you can find me on Twitter especially. So I'm just Cadi Jordan everywhere, but those are the platforms you can find me on the most.
Yeah, and I love it. Very consistent across different social media channels. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I love this comment from Lance. Looking forward to checking out Twitter space. Yeah, I look forward to it too, and checking out how it works. But I have become so lazy. I don't know if I'm the only one. And when I do stories, I just use Instagram to do my stories because I love how Instagram have different filters, can make you look younger, right? I love it. Why not? So I just use Instagram to do the stories, and then I just upload the same story to Twitter, to LinkedIn, to Facebook. I don't know if this is a good approach. Probably not a good approach, but I really admire people who have so much time to natively producing content, especially stories for every single platform. And I admire them. I'm not there yet. Yeah. But anyway, and thank you so much, Cadi. Everyone to follow her and learn more about connection-based marketing. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live from all over the globe. I really love seeing you all here. And so I run this show on a weekly basis. And next Wednesday, I have another amazing marketer come join us on the show. So definitely check us out next Wednesday or Thursday for some of you in Australia. And I hope to see you again, same time, same location, and check out Cadi. Thank you so much again, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Bye.